Okay, we're going to be dividing decimals. So example 1, a high school track is 9 76 meters wide. It is divided into 8 lanes of equal width for the track and field events. How wide is each lane? So we look and we're given how wide the entire track is, so that's the total. Our keywords divided, we have 8 lanes of equal width. How wide is each lane? Okay, each can mean groups, such as multiplication or division is done in this problem. Since the total is given to us and it wants us to divide the total into 8 equal groups, then we're going to choose division. So our clues are divided, okay, our keywords, equal, and each. So I gave you a grid so that you could line them up. So if our total is 9 76 hundredths, all right, that's what we're dividing into pieces. So that's going to be your dividend. That's going to go under the house. Then we are dividing it into 8 equal groups, 8 lanes. So we're going to divide it by 8. This is your divisor. All right. So when you have decimals, if this is not a whole number, then you need to make it a whole number, which we'll do on the next example. If it is a whole number, like in this problem, you take the decimal, you put it straight up into the answer, and then you get to completely ignore it and divide like normal. It's already in the answer for you. So I gave you the grid so that you can make sure and line up your place values and have the decimal in the right spot. So 8 goes into 9 one time. Bring your 7 down. 8 goes into 17 2 times. Bring your 6 down. 8 goes into 16 2 times. And you get a remainder of 0. If you don't get a remainder of 0 and there's nothing else to bring down, your decimal is already in your answer. So you are allowed to drop zeros from your dividend. Don't put it in your answer, your 0. Drop it from your dividend if needed. So each lane is going to be 1 22 hundredths meters wide. So example 2, Anna E. spent $11.52 for some pens that were on sale for 72 cents each. How many pens did Anna E. buy? So first of all, we got to think, how much should we spend? We spent $11.52 on pens. That is our total that we spent. And it said that each pen cost 72 cents each. So we're wanting to see how many of these 72 cents would fit into here. Okay, so since we have the total, we know that we are going to divide it up into groups that are this size to figure out how many pens you're going to buy. So this is our divisor. Our total that we're going to divide into pieces is going to be $11.52. So that's your dividend that goes into the house. All right, so if you'll look right here, your divisor, if your divisor, okay, this outside the house, is not a whole number, we need to make it a whole number. All right, and the way that we do that is we want to move the decimal until it's at the end of the number. Okay, we want to make it a whole number. So this 72 cents, the 72 hundredths, became 72. So if I move it 2 places here, I have to do the exact movement in my dividend inside the house. All right, so I'm going to move in the divisor first, and that's going to tell me how many times to move it in the dividend. All right, so you exactly the same movement of the decimals in the dividend and the divisor on the inside of the house and the outside of the house. So then you're going to move it straight up into your answer. So now 72 goes into 1, none. 11, none. 115, 1 time. And remember, we're ignoring this decimal. We already have it in our answer. So 72 goes into 115 1 time. 1 times 72 is 72. We do our subtraction. We get 43. We move this our 2 down and we get 432. So 72 goes into 432. Now a little trick when you have big numbers, if you'll cover up the ones place, 7 goes into 43 6 times. Okay, 6 times 7 is 42. So that just gives me a starting off point. It might not be exactly, I might be a little off, but it gives me a starting off point of where to start with 72 to go into 432. So we get We were lucky that time. We got exactly 432. So 72 is going to go into 432 6 times, and we'll get our remainder of 0. So Anna E bought 16 pens. Okay, so I put the steps down here that move your decimal to the right to make the divisor, which is outside of the house, a whole number. If the divisor is already a whole number, like on our first example, you're just going to move your decimal up, straight up into your answer, and divide. Okay, if you had to move your decimal in your divisor on the outside of the house, step 2 says move your decimal in the dividend, which is inside the house, the same number of times to the right. So again, if we moved it 2 places here, we move it 2 places here. This dividend does not have to be a whole number. Okay, that's a very common misconception. This divisor has to be a whole number. This does not. It just happened to be in this instance, but it usually does not have to be, or it doesn't have to be, and sometimes it won't be on your homework. Okay, step 3, make sure your decimal is moved up into your quotient or your answer, and then you divide as if the decimal is not there. So let's look at an example on your homework. So let's look at number 2. So this is 3.1 as a divisor and 10.261 as your dividend. So we want this divisor to be a whole number. So we're going to move it 1 place to the right to make that 31. And since we moved it 1 place here, we're going to move it 1 place here and put it straight up into our answer. So now we get to ignore it. 31 goes into 1, none. 31 goes into 10, none. 31 goes into 102 3 times. 3 times 31 is 93. We do our subtraction and we get 9. Bring your 6 down. 31 goes into 96 3 times. Notice I'm putting it straight above that 6 that I brought down in 96. So 3 times 31 is 93. Bring your 1 down. 31 goes into 31 1 time, and I end with a remainder of 0.